Hello and welcome to the Flossy Podcast. I'm so excited to be back here with you, and it's April. I don't know how that happened. Honestly, it feels like it was just Christmas. But the nice thing is we're getting into the spring vibe a little bit here. I'm always a little bit, I like autumn and winter, and once we start losing all the nice snow, or really here in Halifax, all the ice, I don't know, I start getting a little bit, not cranky, but I'd never always liked the idea of spring, but once I start seeing things growing and little crocuses and tulips popping out of the ground, I definitely start to get more on board. And I'm knitting on something that I'm going to show you at the moment that has mega spring colour vibes, and it's really getting me in the mood. But we're going to get to that in a moment because I have an FO to talk to you about. But before we get into that, if this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Claire, and I talk about all the things I knit and design, and then I talk on about them here, and you are lovely and you listen to me, which is super nice of you. So yeah, and I have some fun things to talk to you about today. Tilly, my fairy partner in crime, is around and about somewhere, but I'm sure if she doesn't make an appearance, you'll have seen her in the intro or the outro because she's always around. And yeah, and if you've been here before, you already know what we're all about, and it's lovely to see you back again. So yeah, if you watched my last podcast episode, you'd have known I had this beauty. Oh, I'm just going to stick my hair up, then you can actually see it. This beauty on the needles, which is Ley Lines from Making Stories, issue 6. And it is done, and I'm wearing it, and I love it. So, as I said, this is Ley Lines. It is top-down set-in sleeve, which I'd never done before, and was really satisfying, I'm not going to lie. You start with, you cast on the back, you do the shoulder shaping, and then knit down and shape the armhole, and then you do the same for the 2 fronts, and then you join it and you knit down, and then you pick up stitches around the arm, but then you knit the sleeve cap with short rows just to create that set-in sleeve. And all the time you're also doing this beautiful diagonal travelling slip stitch, which is such a satisfying knitting stitch. That was really hard to say. It was a really fun stitch to do, let's put it that way. And it creates this beautiful like 3D pattern. It's just really fun, and it's all down the sleeves, and as you can see it kind of comes right together on the sleeve. And I chose to do the I knit the sleeve straight. There's 2 versions. There's 2 options for the neck, and there's 2 options for the sleeve. You can do tapered sleeves, and I chose to knit them straight so it had that poof. And you can do either a ribbed V-neck, or you can do just a rolled neck, but I went for the rib because I really like that. And yeah, it was really fun. So I really like the fit. The only thing I will say, and you can probably see that for a set-in sleeve, I'm quite narrow here, and the sleeves are, especially because it's a V-neck, it's a little bit wide on the shoulder, which if you watched my last episode, you'll know that I had a lot of trouble getting gauge for this project. So I swatched like 6 times. I could get stitch gauge but not row gauge, or I could get row gauge but not stitch gauge. And I actually started knitting this first, going off the stitch gauge, because that's what I normally do, because I knit a lot of raglan and drop shoulder garments. So my default is to just match the stitch, and I can adjust the length as I go. that doesn't work as well with a set-in sleeve because you do have to be really mindful of your row gauge. So I realised this after I had knit the back and then was trying to match the front even though I'd adjusted the length for the back. So I ripped it back and changed needle, and I used the right needle to get the right row gauge. But that did mean that I would be I'd be a little wider on my stitch and on my shoulders. So I was expecting that. So it wasn't a huge surprise that my shoulders were a little bit bigger. Like I said, I knit size 2 because that size gave me the right measurements all the way over, matching my row gauge too. I'm thinking that maybe I should have gone down a size, but honestly, it's like I was saying, I know I've spoken to you about this before, but I realised that I knit a lot of sweaters, and I tend to knit those sweaters based on what I think they're going to go within my wardrobe if I'm leaving the house, if I'm going out somewhere. So I knit a lot of crop sweaters to try and work out that whole thing of wearing them over dresses or with high-waisted trousers. And I love that style, and I'll definitely keep knitting that style in the future. But I don't go anywhere very often. I spend a lot of time in the house, so a lot of the sweaters that I knit that I kind of save for if I'm going out somewhere, they kind of don't get worn very much. So I was definitely focused on knitting something that was, as you can see, this is a lot longer than I normally knit, and it's really cozy, and especially once we get to these transitional months, because I work downstairs in the basement and we have a wood stove down there, so through winter I'm so hot down there that I'm normally in a t-shirt, like a vest top the whole time. But once it gets to this kind of weather, when we're not running the stove as much, it actually gets really, really cold in the basement. So I wanted some sweaters to wear around the house, something cozy, but that I'd also go out in. So for me, this size, even though in hindsight, if I'd have wanted to get this fit across the shoulders a little better, I should have gone down a needle size. I should have gone down a size to size 1 instead of size 2. But I'm glad I didn't. Do you know what? I'll probably just knit it again because I had such a nice time knitting it, and I love how it turned out. I probably will knit this sweater again a size down, and I would use the same yarn probably. This is by Laxton's Sheepsoft, and this is the yarn that the pattern was designed for. It's a 100% wool DK weight. It's such a working horse yarn, and it's beautiful. I'll put all the details for that below. I want to have a huge shout out to Elena. She does sometimes watch this podcast, and she's awesome. She knit this sweater too in this exact same yarn, and she had yarn left over, and she got in touch asking if I'd like the yarn that she had left over, because she had like 2 full skeins. She had so much left over, and she sent them over to me, which was perfect because as I got to the end of the yarn that I got, I just had enough yarn that I'd ordered to knit the sweater as it was written, but I did add a little bit of length to just to the body and then to the ribbing, because I did want it a little bit longer. So her yarn turned up just in time, because I didn't have enough to make it any longer. So she sent me gorgeous yarn again. I have more left over, so I'm gonna have to knit a hat or something because the yarn is beautiful. But yeah, this is my ley lines. So top down set-in sleeve with a V-neck and a mitered ribbing right here for the neckline is what I did. And on the back is it's just columns of slip stitches. So the back is different to the front, which I think is really nice. It really breaks up. It just gives a bit of variation, not just for the final piece, but also when you're knitting it, because it means you go across the front and you're doing your slip stitches that are traveling, and then across the back you're just doing columns of slip stitches, which I just really liked it. So I give this pattern all around a massive, massive thumbs up. And yeah, and I'll definitely be knitting it again. So if you've had this on your list or you've been eyeing it up, give it a go. You won't be disappointed, but do just take that in mind with the gauge and the sizing, depending on what kind of fit you want. If you want something that is definitely fitting on your shoulders more, just be aware of the gauge and tweaking those sizes if you need to. But yeah, I'm so happy. I know I wore this. So like I said, I don't normally wear my hand knits around the house as much. I have a couple that I'll throw on for around the house, but I wore this while I was working downstairs for hours yesterday, and it was so comfortable and cozy. So I can see me getting a ton of wear out of this. All right, on to my whip, my brand new whip. I'm just realizing that this is becoming a Making Stories episode because the next pattern I've got is also a Making Stories pattern. I got sent, so full disclaimer, I used to work for Making Stories. Lovely, lovely place to work and lovely people, and Hannah-Lisa, even though I am not working there anymore, she sent me a copy of issue 9, which is the latest issue, which I actually helped put together because we put it together while I was still working with Hannah-Lisa. And it's gorgeous. It's changed. So one thing that's changed with this issue is the paper that Hannah-Lisa chose to print on, and it's beautiful. So compared to other issues, the other issues are lovely as well, but the colours, you can see it really pop on this new paper. Oh, look at that yellow. We love a yellow. So I got sent this, and like I said, I helped to put this issue together when I was there, and in that I helped pick out the patterns that were going in it. And this one, I remember when the submission came through for Etami. I know, if Hannah-Lisa watches this, I hope I said that right. I remember when the submission came in for it, and I was like, oh, that's such a fun yoke. That's going to be so cool. And the theme of this issue is bloom. So it's all like flowers blooming for spring. Such a joyful theme. And there's some gorgeous patterns in here. Before I move on to my whip, I'm going to just show you a couple more that I really like. There's a gorgeous shawl that is really pretty. That's flowers and fields, and yeah, just beautiful. There's another sweater in here that I've definitely got my eye on knitting at some point, which is that one called, I think it's called Bouquet. And yeah, it's just a really fun issue. Ooh, this is pretty as well, but I don't know if I could pull that off. Yeah, I don't know. It's gorgeous though. But yeah, anyway, I saw that sweater and I knew right from the submission that, because once we selected that, I thought that is definitely going on my needles at some point. And it has, because I started, make sure I go the right way. I started this, was it last weekend? I don't remember when I started it now. It's not that long ago. So the yarn that the original sample is knitting is actually one of my all-time favourite yarns, which is, I have it right here for something I was going to show you in a little moment, but this is Jeroen Natura's Eurylis. Gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. One of my favourites. It's a French merino and it's just beautiful, and it comes in so many lovely colours. But as much as I love that yarn and I love the original sample, I'm still doing my kind of stash busting, well, kind of for this project, because I'm using stash yarn, but I also had to purchase some yarn in order to use my stash yarn, which maybe negates it a little bit, but yeah. I had so this is Mabel and Ivy Super Soft, which if Rachel from Tangle Yarns is watching, I don't think Rachel sells this anymore. This was a yarn they had made up for them, I think, for Tangle Yarns in the UK, and it's been a while since they sold it, so this has been in my stash it was probably one of my early purchases with Tangled Yarns, and I've known Rachel for ages now, so yeah, it's been in my stash a really long time, and it's very, very similar to Garn Super Soft, so it's that similar kind of yarn. It really blooms up. It's a very fine fingering lamb's wool, and it blooms up beautifully. And I've had this cream in my stash forever, and I just didn't really know what to do with it. I was going to do a colourwork, because I have some other colours of it as well. I was going to do a colourwork sweater, and I came across it the other week, and I thought, oh, it'd be really nice to just get some floofy yarn and hold it double and make like a nice sweater with it. And then when the issue 9 was released, it got my brain going. I thought it'd be really nice to, as much as I love the original sample, it's very visually bold, which is beautiful. But I thought, wouldn't it be fun to try that yoke with a more muted palette, something that was a lot softer, and it would just give the whole thing a different vibe. So that's what I decided to do. I kind of had a little experiment, and let me get the other colours. So I visited my new local yarn shop, Fia Fia in Halifax, which I love. Such a fun new shop. If you're in the Halifax area, it's not in the main downtown area. It's just outside a little bit, so it's not near the usual foot traffic. You probably have to drive to it, but well worth the visit. I'll put all the details for Fia Fia below, so if you're in the area or you're passing through, gorgeous shop. You can order online and pick up, which is what I do, so I don't get in there and spend too much money, because I am still trying not to buy too much yarn, so I find that perfect. So I can just look on the website, be good, and just order ahead and then pop in and pick up, which is brilliant. But I ordered 4 colours of, let's put them in order to how I'm doing it. The Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk, and I got these colours, which just remind me of, they're so spring-like and remind me of like sorbet or like Neapolitan ice cream kind of vibes, and yeah, I got, and also, yes, that for the main body. So that's kind of where we're heading. I will show you my swatch so you can get a better idea of them all together. So this is the kind of vibe we're going for. I'm using the cream in the Mabel and Ivy all the way through, and then just switching out the floofy colour for the colour change. And it's working really well because it gives you this beautiful mild kind of look, but it's not, it's really soft because all like the nice floofy alpaca fibres just really puff through, and it's so soft. But I am loving how I'm trying to get it. It's like at a weird point on my needles. I should have thought about this. But yeah, this is how it's looking so far. I just started with the rust colour, and I think it's looking really pretty. And I love this, how the combination of these yarns looks in a folded neck. I think it looks so pretty. Has that real like retro-y kind of feel to it, but really, really neat looking. So yeah, so top down, you start with the folded neck. It has short row shaping to lift the front, quite generous short row shaping, which is nice. Because I hate it when things ride up. That's one of the other reasons that I'm really loving this V-neck, because I can't stand it when my sweaters start moving back. So what I might do with this is even though it has quite a generous neck drop to it, once I've done with the yoke, I might just add a few more rows. It's not in the pattern. I might just do a couple more rows of short row shaping just to lift the back even that little bit more, because I find even when I've got short row shaping at the neck, though that is giving you quite a decent neck drop, I might just add in another couple just to kind of drop it even a little bit further, just a couple of rows just to shift it slightly. It's not just, so it's stranded colour work, but within that stranded colour work you have this where you increase and you decrease, creating the centre column. So it's a central double decrease, and it just gives the stitches this beautiful direction and this petal-like feel. And it's just lovely. It makes it really interesting to knit. There are really long stretches where you have to carry the yarn. So if you're new to colourwork knitting, that can always be a little bit tricky. At the very first, I was catching my floats in certain points, and this yarn is really forgiving, which is good. So it's definitely not super noticeable, but for me, it's notable enough that it was irritating me a little bit. And it might be the way that I catch my floats too. But one thing I found with this, so this combination of yarns, well, it's the Drops Brushed Alpaca. I've found this before because I have worked with it in the past. It has pros and cons. The pros are that for something like this, I found I could, as long as I kept my tension right, and you have to make sure that you don't pull it too tight if you're carrying really long floats. But because it's such a sticky yarn, it really sticks everything together, and so does the lamb's wool. I can carry my floats over a really far stretch without catching them, without having to worry that it's going to be really loopy, because as you can see, once you start getting further down and working with it, it just it all sticks together, and you're not going to have those really droopy floats. So that's a huge bonus for something like this. So I'm no longer worrying about catching my floats. I'm just, those long stretches, I'm just making sure my tension is really generous, which I do by, I kind of like really spread the stitches out when I'm coming to changing colours. I really spread the stitches out before I do it and make sure there's lots of give. Because you're not going to get loose stitches because they're so sticky. So that's awesome with something like this. However, I have to be really careful, because if you do make a mistake, which I am very prone to doing, and have to rip back, oh my god, it's such a pain in the bum. Ripping this yarn back is, you kind of might as well rip it out and then ball that bit of yarn up. I don't like to be wasteful with things, but it really, it kind of strips down the fibre on the strand, and it makes it a lot flatter. You lose a lot of that nice floofy bounce when you rip back. So, and especially if you're doing colour, I found that just through if you hold it double with something and knit with it, because I've held it double before. If you're doing it where you've got multiple colours going over each other, then it's over with. It's gonna, even if you keep everything separate, which I normally do, I keep one to the left and one to the right and keep a dominant colour, it's just gonna be a nightmare. So far, touch wood, I haven't had to rip back. I have made a couple of like little mistakes where I haven't increased where I should and missed things, but I've been able to sort that and without having to rip back. So the only thing that, in terms of the colours, I think I'm happy with it, but I'm also a little bit unsure when it comes to the final thing, is because I have got a lot of colour changes for the pattern in this top bit. This this beige colour that I've gone with, that's for the rest of the body and the sleeves. And I can't help but wonder if it's gonna look okay, if it's gonna look a bit strange and just make the yoke too, I don't know. I'm on the fence about it a bit, which is silly because it's such a neutral colour that it really shouldn't bother me. But I'm going to try it, and then if I feel like it just feels like the yolk's too disconnected with the rest, the other option I thought I could do would be to return the beige colour and get more of this sand pink, which is the very first colour that I've used for the top, and knit the rest of the sweater where it's just plain stockinette, so it kind of connects back to the yoke a little bit. I don't know, it's just something I've got in my brain. If it's just going to feel a bit too disconnected, which doesn't make any sense really. I don't know why I've got that in my brain, because the original sample uses a whole different colour and it works really well. I think it's, do you know what I think it is? I think it's because the main colour that is used in the sample kind of is, well, doesn't completely make sense as like a progression of the rest of the yoke. And see, now I'm just rambling and thinking out loud. You don't need to be here for this. I'm going to work it out, and I'm going to try the beige, and if it's not working, I'll either go back to the pink or maybe even choose a completely different colour to follow on from this nice brown, and take it from there. Watch this space. It might be beige when you see it next time. I might have changed it, but I'll stop thinking out loud. This is what I normally do to Tilly when we're sat on our own. I just talk to her about knitting, and yeah, and it really helps. I talk out loud to her, and normally we work it out. Just going back to issue 9, like I said, no one's asked me to promote this, but I got gifted a copy. So if you're interested in getting your own copy of this, I do know that Making Stories is now sold out of it, which I'm not surprised, but you can purchase the digital copy from Making Stories still, and they have a whole load of lovely yarns that go with issue 9. If you're interested in that, but they also have a ton of lovely, lovely stockies. I know Rachel at Tangle Yarns has this in stock in the UK, and there's loads. So I will also put the link to Making Stories, but also the stockist page. So if you want an actual print copy, just go check out a stockist in your area and see if they have some left. But yeah, that is my current WIP, which I'm finding it really hard to put down, I'm not gonna lie. But I've also, after such a creative block with one thing and another going on the last couple of months, my brain finally unlocked and I've been designing, and I have very little to show you about it today because it is literally just an iCord cast on at the moment. But I've been working on some charts over this past weekend, and I'm working on a new hat pattern which has been really nice, using the Derurum Natura Ulysses. This is in the colourway Sage, and yeah, I'm looking forward to showing you a little bit more of this. Obviously this isn't super exciting right this second, but I'm playing around with a new beret pattern. Beret? Am I saying it strange? I'm doing a new beret pattern. I love a beret. I haven't designed one before. I've knit quite a few because I really enjoy wearing them, and especially it's such a spring-like thing, like a spring-summer pattern. So I thought it'd be really fun to, once I got the idea, to whip it up. But I am trying to work out, because I know it's a style of hat that not everyone loves to wear. I think I get that feeling anyway. Let me know if that's wrong, but I know not everyone loves a beret. So I'm trying to work the pattern so I can have a beret version, but also just a regular hat version, knitted hat. So that's what I've been doing at the moment. So yeah, I think I'm going to have 2 versions of it. But I would love to know what you think. Is that something you feel is necessary Are you kind of like, just keep the beret pattern and don't worry about it? Or would you like to have multiple options? I don't know if I'd have the multiple options within the same pattern, or I might just do 2 versions of the pattern and have them as like sibling patterns that you can bundle. Let me know what you think, but I'm really excited to have something new on the needles and hopefully be sharing that with you really soon. If you want to get test knit alerts, I've put the link below for signing up to my test knit email, and I'll put out any alerts when this is ready to go. I've never done a beret before, so I want to make sure I'm getting it all right. But a little shout out, this is the first time I did an I-cord cast on, and it's not your quickest cast on, but I love how it looks. I think it looks really nice and it's going to work well with the rest of the stitch pattern. So yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you. Finally, the design cogs are flowing. That doesn't make sense, but you know what I'm trying to say. Finally, we're back to doing a bit of designing, and yeah, and that's what we're up to this week. It's been really lovely to get back into that groove and have multiple things off and on my needles. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll be back soon again, hopefully progress through this a little bit more. If you like this episode, give it a big thumbs up. If it was rubbish, you can give it a thumbs down. I don't mind. And subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And as always, a huge thank you to my Ko-fi members. I've been able to upgrade my editing software, and it's just been so much easier to get things feeling the way that I want them to with their help and support, and it's just lovely seeing them over there. If that's something you're interested in, do check out my Ko-fi page. There's multiple levels that you can do with multiple benefits to each. And for level 2 and 3, there is a behind the scenes little vlog going on over there too, if you're interested in seeing more video content. But if not, I will see you back here on my YouTube channel very soon in the next few weeks. And I hope you're all really well and having a lovely April so far. So take care, friends, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.